there's already been a lot of trades since the NBA Finals has ended, and even trades that were happening during the NBA Finals. And today, I'm going to speak on all of them since the Desmond Bane trade. So, on June 15th, 2025, the Memphis Grizzlies traded Desmond Bane to the Orlando Magic for Kentavious Caldwell Pope, Cole Anthony, a 2025 first round pick, 2026 first round pick, a 2028 first round pick, a 2030 first round pick, and a 2029 pick swap. Now, my opinion on this trade, I think, not gonna lie, I think the Magic did pay too much for Desmond Bane. Like, 4 first round picks for Bane is insane. Going back to the KD trade and even the Luka trade, I'm pretty sure they were traded for 2 first round picks combined. I forget how many Kevin Durant was traded for, but I know Luka wasn't traded for any first round picks. So I think this is definitely an overhaul for Desmond Bane. But with this trade, the Grizzlies do get KCP. He's an amazing role player. He won a ring with the Lakers in 2020. He won a ring with the Nuggets in 2023. An amazing role player that contributes to winning, as we've seen. They get Cole Anthony. He's a great young point guard. I think he can do a lot for the Grizzlies. Maybe be their backup point guard behind John Morant. And then we already spoke on the first round picks. I think this is a great haul for Desmond Bane. I don't know how this is going to work out for the Grizzlies though, because they lost one of their scorers. So now their only real scorer or like offensive threat really is John Morant. You can speak on Jaren Jackson however you want. He's not really that great of an offensive player. Most of his value comes from the defensive end. So I don't know how their offense is going to work with this trade. But Kentavious Caldwell Pope and Cole Anthony both provide shooting. KCP, as you may know, did not provide a lot of shooting for the Magic last year, and that's what he was signed for. So I don't know how he's going to perform for the Grizzlies, but maybe he will do better in their system because they have better shooters, a different coach. Like, the Magic didn't really have that many shooters, and it was just a bad environment, I guess, for KCP. So maybe he will perform much better for the Grizzlies. Next up, we have the Jrue Holiday trade. The Celtics traded Jrue Holiday to the Trailblazers for Anthony Simons, a 2030 second round pick, and a 2031 second round pick. Now, for the Trailblazers, I think this is a solid trade. I'll probably grade it like a B. Last season, we saw they were really trying to build a defensive identity. They had a lot of defensive wings and defensive bigs. So trading for Jrue Holiday, especially getting an adult in the room, a vet that can really like kind of coach these young players and help them develop, especially on defense, since Jrue Holiday is mainly known for his defense. I think this is a pretty good move for the Blazers. It's crazy because Jrue Holiday actually got traded to the Blazers before, but they eventually rerouted him. But now maybe he will play for the Blazers. I don't know. Anything is possible. But I think this is a pretty good trade for the Blazers. And then on the Celtics side of things, this is mainly because they couldn't afford Jrue Holiday, but he was also regressing and getting older. So getting Anthony Simons as a return, I think, is pretty good. He's better on offense than Jrue Holiday. I don't know. I'm not sure if he's a better player. That's a conversation for another day. But getting Anthony Simons in the building, he's much younger than Jrue Holiday, young rising star. He's a good guard. I think he'll be able to contribute a good amount to the Celtics. Maybe they can make him do better on defense too with the Joe Mazzulla system. The Celtics have a lot of good defenders and just have a great defensive system. So maybe they make Anthony Simons a decent, competent defender in that system and on that team. But yeah, I don't know how the Celtics season is going to look because Tatum is out. They're like dumping their players to free up salary. So we'll get to the KP trade later. But This is kind of looking scary for the Celtics. But in the position they're in, especially missing Tatum, getting a scorer like Anthony Simons rather than Jrue Holiday is pretty good and might boost their offense a little bit. So I don't know how it's going to work, but it's solid. I guess I'll probably grade theirs like B-, C+. Next, we have the CJ McCollum trade. The Wizards receive CJ McCollum, Kelly Olynyk, and the 2026 second round pick, and the Pelicans receive Jordan Poole, Sadiq Bey, and the number 40 pick in the 2025 NBA draft. So, on the Pelicans side of things, I get this trade completely. CJ McCollum is getting up there in age. He might be like 32 years old, 33 maybe. Trading for Jordan Poole, I think Jordan Poole is better than CJ McCollum. They do kind of the same things. Jordan Poole is a great young guard. Getting him there instead of CJ McCollum, I think, is pretty good for the Pelicans. Saddiq Bey, I don't know how much he's going to contribute, but Saddiq Bey is a really solid NBA player. I think he can probably maybe provide some defense for them. I don't even know if he plays that much. He might be like kind of too injury prone to even get on the court. But for the Wizards side of things, getting CJ McCollum and Kelly Olynyk, this is another step in the Wizards process of getting vets and adults in the room for the young players on the Wizards. Like, they have a good amount of vets, and they also have a good amount of young players. Like, they have Chris Middleton, Marcus Smart. I think they have Malcolm Brogdon. Now they have CJ McCollum and Kelly Olynyk, so they can really coach the young guys like Alex Sarr, Bilal Coulibaly, players like that. So I think this is a pretty good move for the Wizards, and maybe they didn't see Jordan Poole in their long-term future, which is why they're trading him for vets, for the reasons I stated before, like getting adults in the room and coaching the younger players. Having these vets also can just build a culture. So I think this is a pretty good trade for the Wizards. I completely understand. Once again, I said CJ McCollum and Jordan Poole are pretty similar players, so it won't be really that much of a drop-off on offense or defense because they're both not great defenders, but they're both pretty good offensive players. So yeah, I think this is a pretty good win-win trade. Lastly, we have the Kristaps Porzingis trade to the Atlanta Hawks, and this was a 3-team deal actually. So first, the Hawks receive Kristaps Porzingis and a 2026 second-round pick. The Celtics receive Georges Niang and a 2031 second-round pick, and the Nets receive Terrence Mann and the number 22 pick in the 2025 draft. So first, we'll start off with the Nets. For the Nets, I think getting Terrence Mann, Terrence Mann's a solid player. He doesn't have the best contract, but I don't think they're really worried about that. The number 22 pick in the draft is amazing for them, though. This is a really deep draft in terms of role players. So I think they can definitely hit on the number 22 pick. And the Nets do have a lot of picks in the first round this year. So getting an extra pick doesn't hurt at all. It gives them an extra chance to hit on someone. Maybe they can be good, decent, however good they are. They still have a bunch of other picks in the draft, so getting this extra pick really just increases their chances of landing a good to decent player. For the Celtics side of things, they get Georges Niang in the 2031 second round pick. Now, this may seem horrible, like just face value with no context, but this was to dump Porzingis' salary on the Hawks because they couldn't pay everyone, so they had to trade Porzingis for Georges Niang. I don't know his contract, but I know it's not that big, and they got a second round pick too. So this seems like a bad trade, but it had to be done. This is like the same reason they traded Jrue Holiday too, and also because Tatum is out, so they might be going for a tanking approach and just trying to be bad next year so they can get a top pick for when Tatum comes back. So for the Celtics side of things, I mean, this isn't great, but it's understandable for why they did it. And then we have the Hawks. They get Porzingis, the best player in this trade, in the second round pick. Getting Porzingis, I think this is actually great for the Hawks. This is going to be the first time Trae Young has ever played with a stretch big, so we're going to see how that is. Porzingis can also be a lob threat for Trae Young. He played with a guy like Luka before. He got traded because I think their personalities didn't match. But he was great next to Luka, like a stretch big next to a dynamic guard who can pass and throw lobs, shoot. I think this is going to be a great fit for the Hawks. I've heard a lot of people saying maybe he may come off the bench for Onyeka Okongwu just to start besides Jalen Johnson. But I don't know if they're going to bench him. I'm not sure. Maybe they won't bench him for politics reasons. And they might just start KPS a center or double O at power forward, or maybe they can switch positions and then Jalen Johnson at the 3 and Dyson Daniels at the 2, Trae Young at the 1. I'm not sure. I don't know if they're going to bench Zachary Ricochet, but I mean, we'll see how that goes. But I think this really is a great trade for the Hawks, especially seeing how the East is going to be next year with all of the injuries. and fall offs from these teams. So I think the Hawks can really make a lot of noise in the East next year and make a pretty deep playoff run, especially after this trade. But yeah, that's all for today. That's all the trades since the Desmond Bain trade.